Hey everyone, thought I'd make a video showcasing how I did some of the sound for my game Star Mountain using Pure Data. Pure Data is a visual programming language designed for audio synthesis. It is a free, open source alternative to Max and great to use with Unity since you can legally and easily package it with the build of your game. In order to integrate it with Unity, you need this libpd instance script written by Niall Moody, as well as some folders that I'll link in the description. Here's a little demo scene I put together to show the two softwares communicate. First, you need the Pure Data scripts in the Streaming Assets folder. Then you also need a game object with the libpd instance script attached to it, which you can then drag and drop your Pure Data patch right into here. In Pure Data, we will be receiving all the messages from Unity with a simple receive object. The receive can take any name that you want, but make sure to remember it for when we go into Unity and you have to send to the same object. Here I have a simple Pure Data patch that plays a sawtooth wave, which is going to be externally triggered by Unity with the receive object up here. In Unity, all you need is the libpd instance variable declared so that we can drag and drop that game object we made earlier right into the inspector. That then gives us access to the Pure Data class methods, so if I type pd/send, you can see all these different types of data that we are able to send into Pure Data. For my example, all I did was send bang and then that name that we had written in the receive object earlier. So right here you can see that I have on trigger enter, so whenever the character collides with the trigger, it just sends a bang to that Pure Data object. You can see that here when I collide with the red square. Here are the Pure Data patches for my game. A lot of these are simply just abstractions that I had to make since I ported this over from Max originally, so we can just ignore a lot of these. These are the 6 actually making any audio. We have the bomb, the main menu music, the main music of the game, all the player sounds, the star sound, and the wind sound. A lot of these are relatively simple, like the bomb sound here. This is essentially just a distorted sine wave getting swept down and distorted white noise. We can see the main distortion is done with a multiply tilde object, which I multiply by a massive number and then use the clip object to just cut that right off. You can hear just the sine wave right here. The frequency sweep is just being done with a line object, which I send this message into it saying to go from 100 to 28 in 500 milliseconds. I organized all the player sounds into one Pure Data script using these abstractions right here. The duplication sound actually features a sample of a break that I had recorded, which you can store in an array within Pure Data and then call using the tab read for tilde object. You can hear that here. Wind is a very easy and fun thing to make in programs like this. You can just take white noise and then some sort of resonant filter. I have just a bandpass here, and then I'm randomly changing the frequency cutoff using this junk object I made for an effect like this. For the music, it's using a lot of randomness and probability that is being triggered by certain game logic that's happening. For instance, I have a receive here that gets triggered whenever a player hits a star, so I can find out whenever a new round starts. I use a combination of the random and select object a lot within this patch, where random, every time it's banged, will generate a number between 1 and 4, and then select will bang depending on the input that is sent into it. So right here I have a bang at 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So every time a 0 is hit, you can see it bangs the snare off, and then every other time it turns it on. So that means it has a 20% chance every time a player receives a star to turn off the snare. Over here I have a counter that is getting triggered every 5 rounds using modulo so that I can turn on this little filter sweep that you'll be able to hear in the game. The only other main piece of data being sent to this patch is the distance between the red player and the star and the blue player and the star. I then check which player is the closest to the star, and depending how close they are, I change the rhythmic density of the main melody pattern so that once one of the player is right next to the star, it'll just be 16 notes the entire time. You can hear that here whenever the red player gets closer to the star. One thing I use a lot within this patch is the text object. Within the text object, I just wrote out all these frequencies that is just a major pentatonic scale so that I can index into them later within the patch and it'll spit out whatever frequency is assorted with that index. So you can see right here the chords are just 4 sawtooth waves. Whenever they're banged, they first go into this random object that'll spit out a number between 0 and 12 because that's how many lines there are here. And then depending on what number is sent, the corresponding value at that index will get spit out into the phaser. But that's essentially it. If you'd like to learn more about how to integrate Pure Data with Unity, Jan Snesnik has a great tutorial with it that I'll link in the description. And if you want to learn more about Pure Data, there are plenty of tutorials online that you can find. Thanks for watching.